The story of immigration in this country is chaotic and complicated, to say the least. And here at DBL, we're working through the facts along with you, trying to understand. And today, we're learning more about this image. You've seen it, of course. It shows a 2-year-old crying at the border in Texas, heart-wrenching. And she became the face of this story, immigrant children being separated from their parents. She even became the Time magazine cover girl with the headline, "Welcome to America." But now, we're learning that she was never separated from her mother. Her father is still in Honduras and spoke out, saying she and her mother are being held together and are doing fine. But Time is defending its use of the image, saying that it captures the stakes of crossing the border. It's become very political, just like with Melania's jacket, which we chose not to talk about today because I feel like it detracts from the point. But what would you say to people that are saying that, see, I told you so, this girl wasn't even separated from her mom?
Yeah, you know what, I feel like we said earlier in the meeting, that's semantics. You know, if the other side's firing at you about, I don't want to bring it up, but Melania's jacket, what it meant and there's 1,000 interpretations. There's 1,000 interpretations of what this cover could mean. Technically, was that person separated from her mom? No, but that's not what the Time cover is or unless you see it that way, whatever it is. But I think it's just people nitpicking at the other side and going, see, you said this, see, now the Time magazine is this. Like Al said earlier in the show, and I always say, we need to come to agreement. We need to stop fighting, nitpicking about this jacket, that cover. Let's focus on reality, what's really happening in our lives.
Erica?
I agree with Jeff. I think, unfortunately, we are in a cycle of news that is going to change over because we're going to get a bigger headline. It's going to take over. And just an example of that, does anyone remember Elian Gonzalez?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Okay, but millennials, how much do you guys remember Elian Gonzalez?
They don't.
Not much, yeah.
So, but that was a very important case. It was a very important thing in our nation's history. We talked about it a lot. But when it comes down to it, that cover is going to be forever, and we may not say, oh, that girl was separated from her mother. That narrative won't be there. But the image of a little girl crying and the President of the United States lording over her with the caption, "Welcome to America," makes a statement independent of any of the narratives that anyone can put onto it.
It still brings up immigration.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what that picture is always going to symbolize to us, is where we are. I think that cover, forget if the girl was separated from her mother. I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but the larger scope is, I think that's saying right now in America, we are no longer the bring us your huddled masses. We are the tough to get into. We're going to build a wall. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy. And no matter how you feel about those things, that's where we are currently. And when we look at that cover 5 years from now, 15 years from now, that's the current state. And it's like, that's just a fact. So that's where we are.